Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Berny model number T2566MS. I purchased this watch with earnings from this channel, so I appreciate it as always. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. I wouldn't be here without you guys. If by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, as always, I'll be leaving a link down in the video description. That is an affiliate link. You guys don't pay any extra. I just earn a little bit of commission so I can keep buying watches like this and get them on camera and review them for you guys. So the retail price for this watch is about $58 US on the strap. That's before any taxes, sales, coupons, VAT, etc. They obviously do participate in the sales, so if you're patient, you'll be able to get this for a little bit less than that. The watch comes in 4 different colorways that you can see here on screen. You can also get this on a solid titanium bracelet for an extra $6. I've had their previous bracelets and wasn't impressed, so I skipped it, but it looks like they have upgraded it a little bit. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It might be worth it for the $6. And then they do also offer this with and without the Berny shield on the dial. So just keep that in mind when you're about to purchase. The watch case is made of titanium. It has a sapphire crystal, a push-pull crown, a snap-on case back, 50 meters of claimed water resistance, and is powered by the Seiko VH31 sweeping quartz movement. So this, I'm pretty sure, this has to be one of the cheapest titanium watches that you can buy. It's ultra thin, it's ultra light, and because of that, it's ultra comfortable. It's just a perfect recipe for a great little field watch. But how is the rest of the watch? I say we get right into the full review, but before we do, doing a quick wrist check today. Wearing my SN0116. This is the new one that came in. If you guys saw that review, you can see this one actually does align nicely at the 12 o'clock. That other one, the winner of that watch did get back to me. I'm sending the watch to that person today. So they should have the watch pretty soon on wrist and enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying this one. So thank you guys so much for participating in that. It was a great success. I will be doing another giveaway here pretty soon. All right, so let's check the dimensions. We've got a case diameter of 37.4 millimeters, case height of 8.8 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug width, lug tip to lug tip of 42.8 millimeters. The watch head alone weighs just 22 grams. Throw in the strap. Total weight is 36 grams. So like I mentioned, just ultra compact, ultra lightweight, under 9 millimeters thick, with nice turn down to the lugs there as you saw. And then the weight, I mean, this thing just weighs nothing. I don't think I've ever reviewed a watch this lightweight. So obviously this thing is going to wear fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it just kind of disappears on the wrist. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist. It's obviously a very petite watch, a little bit small for my personal preferences, but anyone with a smaller wrist, you're going to be able to pull this thing off. You got really nice curve down, like I mentioned, very slim case. Obviously, I feel like the strap on this thing weighs more than the watch head, so throwing it on a different strap will probably make this thing even more comfortable. But this strap, it's not bad. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but yeah, I do think it looks pretty darn good. And here we are in some direct sunlight. You can see obviously a very matte case, but it does look pretty good. You do have some AR on the crystal there. I'm trying to find the sun, but there you go. So it does have some AR on it, keeps the dial nice and legible. You can tell it does get a little bit milky here and there, but for the most part, it does a pretty good job of keeping the dial nice and legible. And obviously this is a pilot style watch, so it's very legible to begin with. And I mean, I think it just looks pretty darn good, but I think it looks better on some straps, so I'm gonna go throw it on some straps and we'll get back to this review. I decided to throw a little bit of color at this thing. It looks really good on this. This is the coffee colorway of the suede strap, linked down below. I think that looks really good, and the strap, it's one of my favorites. It's not the nicest strap, but man, is it comfortable, and I think it looks really good on this one. And here we are on a dark green Perlon strap. Not quite a perfect match on the color there, but I still think it looks pretty good. And there's one layer underneath the watch, just hugging the wrist still, so very happy with that. And this is obviously super lightweight, super comfortable, no problems. And here we are on a nylon strap with 2 layers underneath the watch there, and you can still see it is sitting very low. This watch is just super comfortable. I barely even feel this thing on the wrist. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, if you're looking for a watch that just kind of vanishes and looks good, this is probably it. All right, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. Yeah, so let's talk about the case and the case finishing. So case finishing is very simple. It is a fully bead blasted case, as you can see here. really, really smooth. There's no real sharp edges on the thing. There's no polishing. There's no brushing anywhere on it. You do have I believe that's a titanium crown as well. Just a simple push-pull crown. Really, really tiny though. That's one of my complaints about it, is that it's super small. But thankfully it's a quartz, so you rarely have to interact with it. But flipping it to the case back here, you can see got a simple snap-on case back. Again, it's been a while since I've seen a snap-on case back. I would prefer a screw-down case back, but it is what it is. It's 50 meters of water resistance, which should be fine for splashing around. But yeah, I wouldn't take this thing in and submerge it in the water. But I think if you're getting rained on or whatever, it should be fine. But yeah, you can see here again, just everything is nice and smooth. There's no real sharp edges on it. Someone was curious if this really was titanium, so I did scratch the bottom of this thing, and you can see it's not showing any brass underneath it. So it is a fully titanium case. It's fine. I got zero complaints with it. As far as the finish and texture goes, here you can see it in the color, I guess. You can see it here against a steel bead blasted. So yeah, it is a little bit smoother than this. This is the escapement time khaki. So yeah, that's just gives you an idea of how it looks. It's a little bit darker, a little bit smoother. But yeah, it does look pretty good. All right, so let's talk about the crystal. First things first, we will test it for sapphire. So it is positive for sapphire. So it is just a dead flat piece of sapphire crystal, as you can see there. It doesn't really protrude from the bezel at all either, so it's pretty nicely protected by the case. There is a lot of blue AR coating on it, so it keeps the dial nice and clean and legible. It's not distracting, at least not on this green model here. Maybe on the black model it might be, but for the most part, it's a great crystal. I've got zero complaints with it. It does kind of get like a little bit of a milky look to it in certain lightings, but here it's impossible to show you guys that. But yeah, for the most part, the crystal's fine. I've got zero major issues with it. It looks good, and the fact that they're actually giving us sapphire and anti-reflective coating on a watch under $50 in the sales, pretty incredible. All right, we'll get real close. We'll talk about the dial on this thing. The dial is just a matte finish. There's no gloss. There's no texture to it. It's a very simple dial. I think the color looks really good, actually. I was pretty happy with this and how it turned out. I like the white accents on it. It's not not using polished hands or anything like that. You get that pop of red on the seconds hand. I do think the handset could be a little bit longer. The hour hand, I think, is fine. That's supposed to just go to the inner ring there. The outer hand looks a little short to me. It should reach right out to the outside. That's really my only complaint with the handset on it. It's very simple, very cleanly done though. As you can see, there's no fluff or anything underneath the dial. This one turned out really nice. I like that pop of red. The lume on it is actually pretty good as well. Everything is printed nice and crisp. Everything that you see in white here, except for those outer individual minute ticks there, those are loomed with BGW9. It's obviously just printed on, so it's not fantastic lume, but it is actual BGW9, which was quite impressive. So I'm going to pop it up against a couple other watches, and you can see it here. It actually does pretty good. The dial does fade faster than the hands do, but if something's going to fade faster, you want it to be the dial. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the lume on this thing. Obviously, it's not going to hang in there with some of the big hitting watches, but even against that addiesdive, it does a really good job of holding strong. I can read it all night long. So really, they did a pretty good job with the application on this thing. Surprising for the roughly $50 price point. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is the Seiko VH31. It is a sweeping quartz. You can see there, it does tick 4 times per second. So you have no real issues of it hitting the marks like you do with the single tick quartz. These things are great. They're obviously super slim, and they're accurate. I think the accuracy is plus or minus 20 seconds a month. So no issues there. I think actually a 3-year battery life on these things. They're great. I've got no complaints with them at all. They're awesome. I wish we would see more watches with these ones. Obviously, in the last year or so, we've seen quite a few of them. So I'm looking forward to seeing even more of these things. They drive the price down. The convenience goes up. They're fantastic. The movement is operated by this 4 o'clock crown here. It's just a simple push-pull crown, unsigned, and it is a super tiny crown. My fat sausage fingers here does struggle to manipulate it, but for the most part, it's one of those things where you just do it once and you don't have to touch it for 6 months or something like that. So not a huge deal. I just thought I would mention it. But yeah, everything functions as it should. It's a no date movement, so there's no ghost date position or anything like that. It hacks They're fantastic. I love them. I want to see them in more watches, and this one is really no difference. Other than that small crown, I've got no complaints with it. All right, so let's talk about the strap on this thing. So the strap here, I'm going to mention the bracelet. So I had the previous version of this watch. They made this watch with a 3 o'clock crown, a little bit different case. And that bracelet was absolutely terrible. It was like folded links and just, it was horrible. It didn't have solid end links. Just, it was a terrible bracelet. I skipped it because of that. But it looks like they have upgraded it. It does look like it has solid end links and solid links. It still has a folded clasp, so keep that in mind. But it does look like they upgraded that bracelet a little bit. For $6, it's probably worth it if you want the watch on a bracelet, if you're going to wear it on a titanium bracelet. So I would probably spring for it. It's only $6 extra, but yeah, just something to think about. This strap that they provided here, pretty decent strap. It is a nylon strap, 20 millimeters. It doesn't taper or anything like that. You've got this leather portion here for the holes to just reinforce those a little bit. It's a double layer. It's plenty long. I'm pretty sure my 7.5 inch wrist, I'm like right here. So this thing should fit like up to a 9-inch wrist. But going any shorter than probably 6.5, it might be a little bit of an issue. So plan on replacing the strap if you got smaller wrists. But it does have quick release. The sewing seems to be pretty good. It's holding up well for me. I've worn this on a couple different watches. Everything is nicely done. Pretty impressive strap for the money. I believe this is also titanium hardware here. So you got this brushed titanium. You got one floating, one stationary, and then a buckle here, which is, I'm assuming, also titanium. Unbranded, nothing fancy, but it's not flopping around or anything like that. So it gets the job done. Yeah, and I mean, quick release, so if you don't like the strap, you just throw it on something else. It does look really good on that suede strap. I was pretty happy with that, and also on nylon straps. I think it works. So yeah, overall pretty satisfied with the strap on this thing. Strap options. I'd probably jump for the extra $6 for the bracelet though. If I was getting this again, I'd probably go for it on the bracelet. So there you go, guys. That is the Berny model number T2566MS. For $50 some, even cheaper. Like I said, I think I got it for $40 during the 11/11 sale. For that price, you're getting a really small, really compact titanium field watch. It's got enough splash resistance to, survive a rainfall, but I wouldn't go swimming with this thing. But if you can look past that, this thing's fantastic. It has good lume. It has AR coating on the crystal. The case is nice and soft and thin and lightweight. Again, this thing just kind of disappears on the wrist. So yeah, on a different strap, it actually feels even lighter and even more comfortable. So yeah, this thing is just crazy value in my opinion. Yeah, I think it looks good. I think it's comfortable. Titanium finishing is decent enough. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to complain about. So if you guys are in the market for something like this should probably be at the top of your list. So yeah, go check it out, guys. Link down in the video description. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.